Okay.
So when we decide to purchase anything, okay, the first thing is that we'll think about the product. We fix up the specification of the product as per our requirement. So that specification
Hmm.
of the product and all other settings like your buyer code, your reminder label, valuation class of material will be a part of a material master. However, the second step is that from which source you want to buy this material. So that source is
Hmm.
called vendor here. Okay. So for vendor master
Hmm.
creation,
Hmm.
transaction code is XK01. Here you can create vendor centrally. Centrally means you can create all type of settings with this single transaction code XK01.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, if you remember that at the time of material master creation, I said material is a plant dependent characteristics. Okay. Now, if we talk about
Hmm.
the vendor part, so here vendors are not dependent on plant. They are purely dependent on purchasing organization. What is purchasing organization?
Hmm.
Purchasing organization is a group of people responsible for procurement. Okay. So the first
Hmm.
thing is that we'll enter our company code here. In our case, we'll keep a
Hmm.
company code as 0001, right? Then
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
purchasing organization, I have kept same purchasing organization number which we have used in our case of our plant. So our purchasing organization and plant will have a similar number. That number will be
Hmm.
0009. After that, there is a one key with one box which is called account group. Okay. Now, in the vendor, the name vendor is a very generic term. Okay, but we can
Hmm.
further divide this vendor into different categories. Like there
Hmm.
can be a vendor who is providing me material. So I'll say this is my material vendor. Second, a vendor who provides me services. So I can say service vendor. In a similar way, a vendor who provide me transportation. So I'll say this is my transportation vendor. Okay. So
Hmm.
in order to differentiate between different type of vendor on basis of certain characteristics, okay, we use this
Hmm.
account group. On basis of this account group,
Hmm.
we can create a
Hmm.
separate number for individual vendor category. How? Suppose your company had decided that all vendors supplying material will be start from VDS letter, or we can say VDM. Okay, I'm just typing here VDM. So they decided that their
Hmm.
name will start from VDM. VD stands for vendor,
Hmm.
M stands for material, and after that there will be a
Hmm.
continuous serial number like this. Okay.
Hmm.
In the now, so we will create our number range and will assign that number range to account group. Let's say
Hmm.
I have assigned this VDM category to this vendor. Okay. In a similar way,
Hmm. Hmm.
fine. So now I can say that 0001. If I select vendor account group as a 0001, then that vendor must start from letter three letters VDM. Okay. Then
Hmm.
this what is this? This is my external number range because I am giving this number. Okay. In a similar way, we can
Hmm.
create a separate vendor for say transportation. So I'll say transportations when transport vendor will start from VDT. Fine. So in this way, we can create a
Hmm.
so many different account group, and we can not only control the number ranges of vendor, but we can also control some different parameter of vendor master on basis of account group.
Hmm.
Okay. So right now, I'm going to
Hmm.
select the first one, the typical one, vendors. This is my account group. Okay. I have selected this. Now I'm going to press enter. Let's see what system will tell me. What is saying? Account group 000001 user external number assignment. Please specify an account number. Why it is? giving why system is giving me this message? I kept this field blank. It means that I was thinking that this for 0001 account group, internal number ranges is maintained. So system will give me a number. But for 0001, internal number ranges is not assigned. What is saying? Extra number assignment. Please specify an account number. Okay, it means that I'll have to enter my own number. Okay, like if you remember when I created material spare, I haven't entered anything because I chosen spare part as a material type. While when you created material, at that time you entered television, fruit, and all that because you have selected a different material type. So this is a setting related to material type. Okay. So now it is asking me to enter my own number. So I'll say my number will be VDM0001. Okay. Now see what happened. As I press enter, system has accepted this number. Okay. Now it is asking me to enter further details. So the first one is your title. Title is simply the company, Doctor, Mr., Miss, Messrs. Okay. So I'm taking Messrs, the company name. Now the name of your company. So I'm writing ABC Limited. Okay. Now your search term. Okay. Search, we can say search term is one short key. On basis of that, we can search this vendor effectively. Suppose, now let us take example of a company, the L&T. L&T's full name is Larsen and Turbo. Fine. Now, everywhere it is said that L&T, L&T, L&T. Okay. But if you want to give some kind of payment, it won't be accepted on the name of L&T. It won't be. It will be accepted only on the name of Larsen and Turbo. Now, for the purpose of your user comfort, you can enter here LNT, so that what will happen at the time of searching, your user will simply type LNT and they'll get the list of vendors. Okay, so this is purely used for searching purpose. So I'm just simply writing here ABC here. Now comes our street, house, normal postal details. So I'll write I'm simply writing XYZ road and all that. Okay. Now I'm going to select country for this vendor because it is possibility that your vendor will be in other country. So I'm going to select India as a country right now. Now I'm continuously pressing enter. As I press enter, system will take me to next screen. Okay. So right now there is no need to enter anything in this screen because this screen is a is a relationship with your taxation part. Okay. Generally it is maintained by the FI team. Then this is again one screen which is for your vendor. In this screen, we maintain bank details and bank account details. Okay. See, vendor is a one master which will be used by buyer for procurement. But after procurement, the role of FI team comes in picture. Their role is to settle payment of payment liabilities generated against your purchase. Whenever you take goods receipt, you get your material. Okay. At the same time, the liability of payment also get generated. Okay. Now, as per the initial agreement between vendor and buyer, your account team will pay. Okay. This the payment term part we'll see in our purchase order. Okay. In purchase order, what we simply write? We simply write we'll pay you after 30 days of delivery, 15 days of after delivery. In many cases, we give advance. 30% advance, 100% advance against performer invoice. So all these are different payment terms. So we'll see payment term at the time of purchase order, right? Okay. So now on it means that there is a vendor master has a very close relationship with FIT. Okay. Now the role of FI is to monitor your fund position as well as record your transaction. Okay, so for that purpose, here we can assign bank key, bank account and account holder. In FI there is one concept which is called house bank, so they create their house bank and all that, so that they'll have a detail about vendors account. Okay, nowadays many companies are using RTGS and NEFT for payment part. Okay, so we can use this detail, bank account number, account holder, all this detail for your RTGS and NEFT purpose also. Now I press enter. Here, system is simply asking me, I am going to create a vendor master for ABC Limited, but in ABC Limited, who will be the responsible first person, or who will be the company who is going to communicate with you? So I'll say the name of person is say Ramesh Singh, anything you can write it. Okay, then here is next screen button. So I'm going to press next screen button. Okay, now it is asking me recon account. See, these two fields are now, what is saying that these two fields are my mandatory field, because this square with right tick is coming. Okay, so recon account is simply used again for your reconciliation purpose by your FI team. So I think you will have one. We'll have some few recon accounts here. This is one recon account. So we'll simply select any. Now currently I'm going to select any account. Okay. Now cash management group. As I said that whenever you get your material, the liability of payment will get generated. Okay. So there are two things in FI. One thing is called cash flow. Second thing is called fund flow. Okay. So cash flow and fund flow is handled by the different module of SAP. Somewhere it will be a part of FI module, somewhere FI plus fund management will control all this function. So in order to make a relationship between vendor master and fund management part, we create this cash management group. Okay, so we'll keep a cash management group as domestic payment. See, the cash management group example are here: domestic payment, foreign payment, so that if they want to see their reporting and all that, so they'll be able to identify the type of payment or we can divide the type of payment on basis of certain characteristics also. Okay, right now you can select A1. See, as far as MM is concerned, Material Master is concerned, Material Master has no linkage with either your recon account or your cash management group, but it is mandatory to make a relationship with FI. That's why I have entered these details. Okay, now I'm again going to press enter. It will take me to another screen. See, the screen name is, system is continuously telling us a screen name, payment transaction accounting. See, here is my payment term. Okay, I'll have a so many different list of payment term. See, this is a list of common payment term. Payment immediately due date. Second is within 14 days, 3% cash discount. It means that if you pay within 14 days, then I'll give you 3% cash discount. Okay. In a similar way, you'll have these many payment term, and this all payment you can create your own payment term, because here is a list of a common payment term, but this payment term is not a standard globally. Okay. Again, it is depend on the negotiation between your buyer and vendor, where your buyer will try to find out benefit of your company. Okay. So you can create your own payment term also. That creation of payment term will see at the time of purchase order. Okay. Right now I'm simply taking 001. See, if I enter payment term here, then this payment term will get copied automatically to your purchase order. because this vendor master will be a part of your purchase order. But if your buyer want to change default payment term which came from vendor master, he can change in purchase order also. So there is no need to worry anything about payment term. You can change in PO also.
mm,
Okay. Now
mm.
this is an indicator
Mm.
check double invoice. What happened? You you got one invoice.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, yeah. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir, but your voice is breaking. I couldn't hear you last 1, 2 minutes.
One second. I was telling you about the payment term part. Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
So I simply said that we can enter payment term here. That payment term will be copied in your
hmm,
purchase order. Though your buyer can change
hmm,
payment term on basis of discussion between discussion between buyer and the vendor. Okay. Now
hmm,
this is a check double invoice indicator. Suppose you are a FI guy and
hmm,
you are passing bills. Okay. You have passed one bill. Okay. And by
hmm,
mistake, that bill again came to you for passing. How would you know? Okay, so whenever you are in the contract management, right? So whenever vendor give you any kind of bill, he'll give you one number.
hmm,
That number will be invoice number of vendor. Okay,
hmm,
so on basis of vendor
hmm.
invoice number, we can put a one check where we can prevent double invoicing of a same invoice.
Hmm.
For that purpose, always use this check double invoicing. If you want select this check double invoice, it won't affect you. But it is one precaution. Okay.
Hmm.
Now I'm pressing enter.
Hmm.
Now it is telling me create vendor correspondence accounting. Okay. Now it is here we can select the dunning procedure. What is dunning? If you remember at the time of material master creation, I told you about the reminder and expeditors. Okay. So, Tail
Hmm.
Master, Reminder, and Expeditor is about delivery. While here, dunning, the concept of dunning is more or less same. Okay, but the difference is that this dunning will be done for your accounting purpose.
Okay.
Again, I press enter. Now, this is the most important view as far as material management is concerned. See, the view name is purchasing data. Okay, so first of all, it is asking me to enter order currency. In which currency I'm going to deal with
Hmm.
this vendor. So I'll say I'm going to deal with uh, in INR. Say, let's say. Okay, now
Hmm.
Incoterm. Okay, so Incoterm is tell us about
Hmm.
where you want to have this material, whether you want this material X works or with the help of some C and F, all that. Okay, then comes the schema group and vendor group. Okay, here the schema. What is the role of a schema group? Okay, a schema group is a group which
Hmm.
keeps certain kind of condition, or we can say a schema group is a group of certain conditions which we want to allow for this particular vendor. Let us take an example of a two different scenario. You have a one vendor which is situated locally, just near to
Hmm.
you, and another vendor who is from outside is from outside India. Okay, now if you deal within India, excise duty is applicable. While if you deal outside India, excise duty is not applicable, but there is one another duty comes in picture. That duty is called CVD, countervailing duty. Whenever you import anything,
Hmm.
you have to pay CVD. While whenever you purchase material locally, either you'll pay excise or you'll pay VAT. Okay, now what we
Hmm.
can do here, suppose you want to set a condition that if my vendor is domestic, then buyer won't be allowed it to select CVD in purchase order. Okay. In a similar way, if your vendor is foreign vendor, some external country vendor, okay, in that case, buyer won't be allowed it to select local conditions, which is applicable to India. How to so here are two different things. Okay, so we can control these type of scenario with the help of schema group. We can create one schema group with domestic condition, and we can assign a one name to that schema group, say 01. Okay, and if you create a vendor, domestic vendor, then assign 01. Then what we are doing here, we are putting a restriction on buyer. If I enter 01 as a schema group, then buyer won't be allowed it to enter CVD condition in purchase order. In a similar way, we can create another schema group, say 02, and that schema group we can enter we can assign a different condition, CVD condition, additional excise duty condition, all that condition. Okay, commonly you will find four type of schema group. The first group will be your domestic procurement. Second group will be import. Third group will be high sea sale. High sea sale is a sale where suppose you are about to get material from some outside country and material is on the way. Okay, this kind of practice is generally done by traders. Okay, they purchase material from any other country. Okay, and after purchasing, they'll try to find a buyer in India. Okay, so your material already dispatched from China. It will take a 30 days to reach to your port. Okay, during this period, if any sale transaction happen, then that type of sale will be called as high sea sale. Okay, okay. I'm not getting your voice.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm following, but I think this vendor's material is very long. Matlab, I have to do it practically. Hmm.
So after the schema group, another important thing is control data. Here in control data, we have so many different type of controls. So I'll tell you the common control. The first one says GR based invoice verification. Okay, invoice verification is simply, we can say, a process of bill passing where your vendor will submit bill to your accounts team after supplying goods to you. Okay, now what is the duty of your account team? Your account team will verify bill whether price is correct as per the purchase order or not, whether the tax conditions applied is right or not. Okay, so this is called invoicing. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are saying that GR based invoice verification means goods received based invoice verification. How, what is the meaning of this? The meaning is that I can only do invoice verification after goods receipt. Okay, it will again work as a one checkpoint in my process. Suppose if I don't tick here GR based invoice verification, in that case, what may happen that your vendor hasn't supplied you material, but he has presented bill to your account team. And account guys don't know whether your material received or not. They'll pass bill. Okay, if I use this GR based invoice verification, at that time system will automatically check that how much material is being supplied by vendor. Okay, and at that time, suppose vendor has supplied you material of 100 INR and he has presented a bill of 150 INR. So when your account team will enter bill number and purchase order number in invoice verification, system won't allow them to pay more than goods receipt value. Okay, so we always use GR based invoice verification. Though if you don't take, it won't make any difference in your process because it is one checkpoint in your process. Okay, Uh, Apart from that, here is automatic evaluation of GR, settle statement, deletion, return. All these are used for automatic payment, automatic purchase order creation, and all that. Okay, the important one is service based invoice verification. The service based invoice verification tick behave in a similar way, but it is applicable to service part. Okay, if you remember, initially I told you about the can be divided into two parts. First is material, second is service. Okay, so if you go for service
Mhm.
procurement, in that case you'll create take a receipt of service. Okay, so this tick
Mhm.
service based invoice verification deal with service procurement. See, here is one automatic purchase order. What happens? Suppose you have one purchase acquisition. So ideal process says that as a buyer, if you got purchase acquisition, then you send RFQ to different vendors, collect your quotation, compare quotation, then convert final quotation into PO, then send to vendor. Okay, but we can automated this process on certain characteristic, automatic creation. Okay, suppose if you have a rate contract for particular item. Okay, let us say example of A4 paper. You have a rate contract with some stationery shop about A4 paper supplying. Okay, and if you got any purchase acquisition for A4 paper, then you are not going to do this complete exercise of RFQ and all that. Simply you can convert that PR into PO because you have a rate contract in place. Your contract rates are fixed. Okay, so these kind of process where your characteristics and your prerequisites are prerequisites will be fulfilled. You can automate that process. So for that purpose, we use this tick automatic purchase order. Now I'm again going to press enter. Now comes the last. This is last screen. Partner function. Okay, whenever we create any vendor, so vendor will have a some partners. The meaning of partner is very simple. All the parties to which this vendor will deal. Okay, your vendor will deal with your accounts team for bill passing. Okay, your vendor will deal with your store team for material receipt. Okay, now your if he supplied the material to your store team, but who has indented this material? Your vendor, your end user has indented this material. Okay, so you can trigger some kind of notification. See, this partner function is used to trigger some kind of automatic notification to some third parties. Okay, so if you want to trigger some kind of notification to your actual end user, then you can use this partner function. But it is changed now, ordering address. It should be OA. Okay, then simply now I'm again going to press enter. Last screen has been reached. Now, same message. Editing will be ended. Should this data be saved first? So I'll say yes, save it. See, vendor VDM 0001 has been created for company code this, purchase organization this. Okay. So in this way we can create a vendor master. Fine. So I'll do one thing, Manmohan. I'll send you the recorded session as well as the one procedural doc tomorrow in morning time. Okay, you just try to create a vendors in your